We are in this space where we offer that human connection from the very core of what we do.
It's amazing. Isn't it kind of crazy, though, when you have a pain point, how it can actually lead to a resolution and you can help other people?
So I don't know about you, but I would so much rather deal with the temporary discomfort of growing, learning something new, taking a risk, and embracing change versus stay in that permanent discomfort that you are already in right now.
I think this kind of answers the question of like how automation does not ruin the guest experience. Welcome back, all you successful stylists, to the Successful Stylist Academy podcast. I'm your host, Ambrosia Carey. We get to have a guest with us today, you guys, and as a fellow podcaster, I'm sure you're already going to be familiar with his name. He's been popping up on social media everywhere, and I just love his voice. I love what he's about. A hairstylist educator, so this is something that's also really important. I'm talking about Hunter Donia, who is teaching you how to systematize and automate your beauty business to professionally set boundaries and grow quickly. That sounds amazing. I feel like I need to take some pages out of that. So welcome, Hunty. I can now call you Hunty because I feel like now we've had enough of a conversation that we're like friends and I can use your nickname now.
Yes, I love it. Thank you so much for having me on here, Ambrosia. Anybody who is like looking to make a difference in the industry, and I know that you've been in the game and making such an impact for such a long time, anybody who's down for that with me, I'm down to hang out with. So I really, really appreciate you welcoming me to the podcast. I'm really excited to have this conversation with you and your listeners today.
Thank you. I love that you're talking about automation, and just, I know we're doing these quicker sessions. We're doing kind of like 20 minutes, they're like really laser focused. And I feel like you've been very clear in how you can set those systems up and make it not so overwhelming. And I think it's really easy for us to get in our analytical brains a little bit and almost feel like we want to shy away from it because we want to lean into our artistry all the time. So I would love to hear what you have found when you're working through that. So I know today we're going to be focusing on that, but you have such a plethora of things that you can offer our industry. And I'm on the same page as you, Hunter. Like, if we're going to make movement and change, we have to do it together. There's got to be more than one voice doing it. So I just love that you're about this. So can we start out with a little background in your experience, like when you got started in the industry, and then we can kind of just like shift into how you started integrating automation into your business?
Yeah, absolutely. I'll try to keep it short. So I, from a young age, not to go right into it and get really vulnerable with y'all, I came out when I was really young. I came out as gay when I was really young. I was like in 7th grade. And I immediately started to express myself on the outside, like very quickly. So I started to like wear makeup. I started to color my hair very often. It was like a joke with my teachers in middle school, like what color hair Hunter would have this week, like walking into school. I was using like Splat and like Manic Panic. It was not cute. But
I remember that.
Right. But it was a lot of fun for me. And it meant so much for me to be able to express who I was on the inside, on the outside. Now, with that came a lot of me having a really hard time fitting in, getting bullied, not feeling really celebrated for who I was in a lot of spaces that I was in. And it wasn't until I joined my vocational cosmetology program in high school in my sophomore year that I truly felt like I found a space where I was actually celebrated for who I was. And I was like, wow, like these are my freaking people. I feel comfortable here. I feel celebrated for who I am and how I express myself here. And I now can learn how to give the same gift that I give to myself of showing people who I am on the inside to other people now and make an impact in other people's lives. And that just made me fall so in love with this industry from a very young age. Like I was 15 when I started the vocational program.
Wow.
I started my first day in a salon was my 16th birthday. I started as a general assistant. And I was very privileged and grateful to have had that opportunity. I was able to get my cosmetology license before graduating high school, and very quickly, like went right off the ground, right after graduating high school, taking clients. Quickly got into brand education. I was teaching hair color for a fair bit of time from a very young age. I was like a 19-year-old kid walking into these salons teaching these like veterans. It was wild. It was like crazy imposter syndrome, but I did it anyways. And I eventually opened up my own salon suite. I got it freaking growing off the ground, like 3.5 months booked solid, 5 new client requests a week. And that was all fabulous and great and fine and dandy, but it was also overwhelming F.
Yeah,
Because what
seriously.
came with, right?
Oh
Because a
man.
lot of people don't realize like that's a different type of pain. You know, you have the pain
Yeah,
of like not having the clients, wanting to grow the clientele, wanting to be booked and busy, but then you get what you asked for. And then now you have a whole other side of pain that you may have to address now, right? It's you always have some sort of like ceiling that you have to evolve through with uncomfortability at every point of
totally.
growth that you have, right?
Yeah.
And so I was really grateful. I worked really hard to like make that happen for myself. But a couple months in, even to my salon suite journey and my of owning my own business, I didn't understand how this could possibly be a long-term sustainable like career choice for myself, because now I'm responsible for everything. I'm responsible for the inventory, the communication with the clients, the cleaning the suite, the decorating the suite, not to mention all of the marketing efforts that I was putting into to actually get those clients into the door. Always evolving and elevating my client experience. All of these, taking education, that takes up a lot of our time. And we don't realize that that's actually a really great, big, important responsibility that we have, but it takes a lot of time, right? So there was
Yeah.
just so many things that I had to do now. And I had zero boundaries because I was in this scarcity mindset. So
Mhm.
I was like coming in early, staying late on my days off, accepting anyone and everybody who wanted their hair done. And I got to a point of like a breaking point where I was like, if I do not figure out how to be more hands off with this and streamline all of the processes that are allowing me to grow, but without me having to be the one who's doing it all the time, this doesn't make sense. I would rather just be an employee again and show up and do the hair and go home. So
Yeah.
I use my Gen Z tech comfortability and knowledge,
Yeah.
and I just figured out how to use these modern tools that are available to us today to really create some excellent processes and systems in my business that elevated the client experience and then simultaneously allowed me to have more time and boundaries between me and my business. So now I teach other hairstylists how to do the same thing.
That is amazing. Isn't it kind of crazy though when you have a pain point, how it can actually lead to a resolution and then you can help other people that are in that same
Absolutely.
place? So it's just the fact that you took like huge risks and you actually did that that is so admirable because I am somebody who I'm slow and steady and I don't take a ton of risks. And whenever I talk to people, they think the opposite. But I think what the crazy part about it is that you made yourself super uncomfortable, and by doing that, you turned it around into a story and now you're helping other people so that they don't find themselves in a rut too. And I don't know about you, but I feel like the turnover in our industry definitely is getting a little bit it's widening. Like we're starting to see
Yep.
more turnover, higher turnover. So I think somebody who's like you, like me, other people that really want to help individuals and feel like they have someone who can hold their hand and show them that there are multiple ways to do this journey. There's not just one way. And I find
100%.
it so admirable that you went into salon suite ownership not even knowing what you were doing. It probably is a better way of doing it, honestly. Like one of my best
Yep.
friends, she's a painter and she just exploded. And everyone was like, what is she doing? She didn't
Yeah.
go through all these like formal classes. And it's sometimes that formal training, if you don't like come with that like as your armor, then it's easier for you to move. Like you can strip yourself of that
Yes.
armor. So anyway, okay, so going back to the main thing that we're talking about, which was automation.
It's
I
tough when you're like a talker and you want to do a 20-minute episode.
I know. I'm like trying to focus, but I'm so fascinated by what you
I
did.
feel that.
So I didn't even know this part about your background, so I'm already blown away. Can you share with us a little bit, like how did you actually start this process when you were integrating automation? Like what were some of the steps that you started to begin with? Because some people that are listening, they might be like, I don't even do Google Docs. I don't even have
Yeah,
a website, things like that.
totally.
So what tips do you have?
Totally. So my biggest thing, and you know, I'm normally love to get down to the nitty gritty and tangible of these things, but we don't have much time. And so what I want to do today is speak to anybody who may be a little bit fearful of technology,
That's
or
good.
maybe somebody who is okay and comfortable with technology, but doesn't really understand or is too afraid to take risks and take things to the next level and really
Yes.
allow technology to start to almost kind of replace you a little bit in your business. I want to speak to you right now.
Okay.
It's all about fear. Like what it comes down to is is you are just scared of doing something new and trying something new and figuring out and failing, right? And failing. Like we are all so freaked out
Mm-hmm.
by failure. So what we'll do is we'll attach like certain stories to, or excuses, I guess we could say, for the reason why we don't want to do something. So for me, it was always hair cutting, right? So I was never naturally like that great of a hair cutter, and I was way more interested in color. And I remember for the longest time, I was like, I just am not a good hair cutter and I don't want to take any hair cutting classes because I just am, that's just not what I'm interested in, and et cetera, et cetera. Until I finally took a hair cutting class and I was like, wow, maybe I actually kind of do like hair cutting because knowledge destroys fear, right?
Yeah,
But
it
I
does.
wouldn't even go into the class because I was so internally, subconsciously nervous about walking into an uncomfortable situation and having to be confronted by maybe an educator who will show me how what I'm doing wrong and what I can adjust, right? We
Mm-hmm.
have to have that humility. And as we progress in our businesses, and as we have a couple years under our belt, after we've seen some success, especially, it's difficult for us to step back into that back into that humility and back into that vulnerable space of I don't really know what I'm doing here, or the world is changing and there are so many more resources out there for you nowadays. And
Yes.
so, or maybe the consumer behavior in the world is changing and now I need to adapt to that. But I've been doing the same thing, doing all the things the same way for years and years and years. And
Yes.
all of a sudden I have to get uncomfortable and learn this stuff. It really holds people back from actually taking the step forward. But the T is, you're going to stay uncomfortable, staying the way that you are right now forever if you
Mm-hmm.
don't get temporarily uncomfortable and take the step of the growth and the learning and the failure and failing forward and learning, right? And putting up that humility and taking down those barriers again. So you can either choose to stay stagnant and possibly even go on a downturn a little bit with the way that the world is changing, or maybe your energy level and the way that you show up for your business and for yourself and your family and your friends, maybe
Mm-hmm.
that's going to go down, right? So you're already uncomfortable. So I don't know about you, but I would so much rather deal with the temporary discomfort of growing, learning something new, taking a risk, and embracing change versus stay in that permanent discomfort that you are already in right now, because you're avoiding the change or you're avoiding the growth or you're avoiding the possible feeling of failure, which is so important for your success. There is no such thing. And there's no CEO that is successful out there who has never had a failure in their life or has never had to go through an uncomfortable evolution. So if you're nervous about implementing systems, technology, automation, whatever into your business, I think that it really comes down to you stepping out of your comfort zone and being willing to take the next step.
Oh my gosh, so many truth bombs right there. It's kind of crazy too because I'm like, how old are you? I mean, like, wait, I don't want to focus on the age, but you're so wise. Like you really are, and the way that you speak, it's like, yes, that's so true. Being uncomfortable with the long hours that you're working, being uncomfortable away from your family, like the pain points of that are far greater than the uncomfortability that might be temporary and learning a new skill set. And you guys, I've got a few years on him, and I have to say, like, sometimes I got to jump over to YouTube University. Sometimes I have to ask a friend,
Yeah.
and it's okay to do that. Like, sometimes I will spend hours trying to figure out something that might take somebody who has experienced it and done it a few times, like only 30 minutes, but that's how you get better at it. And when you exercise that tool, it's contagious. So I love that you were even speaking to that already. So if you were to pinpoint automation tools that you really love using, aside from maybe like your booking software, or that might be one of them, what are some of your favorites that you've been using lately?
To the people who are listening to this and who are like afraid of online booking, I'm really sorry to leave you out of the conversation, but that's like old news to me, girl. Like, it's like 2023, and like online booking is like, I think it's absolutely essential nowadays. Like, it's no longer a negotiable thing. And where I really teach to bring it to the next level is using it as a pinnacle foundation of the way that you do business, instead of just thinking about it as like an add-on. Like, it's like, oh yeah, and I also have an online booking thing. It's like, no, girl, like all my clients are booking online, period. Like, I'm not doing any of the work myself because my clients are confident and can use my online booking because it's streamlined and it's easy and it makes sense for the client to actually use. But that's a whole other episode. So
Oh
I'll
my
talk
gosh, it
about
is. I know you're
it
right.
is a
You're
whole other
so
episode.
right about that because there's a lot of people, including us, because we're commission structured and we're hybrid as well. And we had it on for a little bit and we turned it off because there were so many people booking the wrong things. So I feel like I definitely want to have that conversation at another time because you're right. I mean,
I would love to.
we've got a little bit of a wedge there and it's so hard. Like there's a psychology, but then there's also like us needing to evolve and teach our clients so they know what to book instead of using the excuse of like, oh, well, they don't know what to
Right.
book. So we're just going to turn it off now.
Exactly. If you I literally just recorded this episode on my podcast today, which was taking full responsibility as the CEO, as the customer experience designer that you are in your business, of making sure that if you want to implement a policy, a process, a change, or you want your clients to behave in a certain way, what have you done and how have you taken their experience in consideration to make sure that it's done as optimally as possible? And that's why I'm really passionate about this automation and not only putting this in to create boundaries, but also putting automation in place to elevate the client experience at the same time. Because a lot of people think like if you are going to be like having everybody book online, your clients are going to be pissed at you, whatever it may be. But if you share with them the benefits, and then if you set it up in a way that's actually enjoyable and easy for them to use, I guarantee you the clients will go over there and they will love it and they will enjoy it. You may have the small amount of people who won't, but guess what? Maybe they're not the right fit for you, and that's okay, right?
Right.
I'm a strong believer if you have to break your own boundaries, or if somebody isn't willing to follow a process that allows you to show up 100% in your business and serve people to the best of your abilities, then you are no longer the right fit for that person. But before we
Amen.
even get to that point, let's make sure that we look at ourselves and we think about how have we taken the responsibility to make this as efficient and as user-friendly as possible. And so I think that that's where online booking really goes wrong, because your clients don't want to book the wrong thing either. I promise you. And that is your clients want to have the right amount of time,
Yeah, they do.
So when you lay things out for the clients and when you set up your online booking system in a way that makes sense and it's easy for them to navigate, and also like you shared too, you have taken the responsibility of giving them the knowledge, the education to use that efficiently as well too, then you can really streamline and you can really make things a lot better. And sometimes there's just growing pains. Like when I first, I changed the whole way I did business when I implemented all of this stuff that I'm talking about. I stopped pre-booking past 2 months. Some of my clients, I literally just don't even pre-book anymore. I implemented online booking only. I changed my entire pricing structure. I changed a lot. And I wasn't like, okay, clients, guess what? This is what's happening. Have fun with that. I was there and helping them through the process and sharing with them and supporting them through the process, because I know that my short-term investment of supporting them through that and answering any questions that they have and getting them on board is going to pay off such in the long term, right? Because it's just temporary growing pains. And now my clientele is completely streamlined. I'm still doing hair once a week behind the chair. And it is something I don't even have to think about. Like I'm able to spend all of my time focused on my education business, having conversations with other amazing people like you. And that's where I really want to be spending my time. Or I can travel and I don't have to worry about my clients texting me 24/7 because I know that they can take care of themselves. And I'm confident that they won't mess up my book, right?
Oh, that's so true. And that's going to debunk for those of you guys who are like shaking your head or you're unsure or you're like, I don't know if I want to get on board with this. I think this kind of answers the question of like how automation does not ruin the guest experience. It actually provides more for them. It provides more value for them. So I feel like you really spoke to that, Hunter. That it was really helpful to hear it in that way. Sometimes it's like the way that people word things really helps with changing your viewpoint or the psychology that's behind like just our daily actions. And just because you've been doing something that way for a long time doesn't mean that it's going to work today. Yesterday's stuff is not going to work today. And the same thing goes now. Not everything that works today is going to work tomorrow. So we have to constantly evolve. So in that evolution process, I'm very curious to hear from you. I just want to get your perspective or like a prediction, if you will. Like, I would love to hear what your prediction is for like what's going to happen within our industry, especially when it comes to automation. What do you think is going to happen in our future?
Yeah. So when it comes to like the way that clients want to do business with us, I think it's true that now that we are in such a digitized world, that people do crave that human experience, right? When they're working with businesses. And that's why we have such a massive advantage, because we offer one of the deepest levels of human connection out of any other industry on this planet. Like truly. Like there is a book called Cosmetologist. I forget who it's by, and it's about this therapist, or even I think even a psychologist, I think, who had a client who came to see him, and she was this woman who was like going on a couple dates with this man. And she was like, I really like him. I want to bring things to the next level. And like, I'd like call it like boyfriend, girlfriend, but I don't know if I should ask him yet. The psychologist was like, you should ask him. And then this client went to her hairdresser and asked the same thing. And the hairdresser said, no, girl, like, don't ask him yet. It's too early. Guess who she listened to?
The hairdresser. I love it.
Right? So
yes.
like, we are in this space where we offer that human connection from the very core of what we do every single freaking day behind the chair. That's never going to go away. And you already offer that automatically, no pun intended. So if you need to add these automations into your business and streamline and add boundaries to be able to furthermore show up and give more of that personalized experience, right? Because that's oftentimes what this actually allows you to do. It's not completely removing you from the business. It's allowing you to show up in the business even better and give those people that amazing experience. What I'm predicting, okay, what I would predict, and this is actually from studies, this is not my own like theories, this is just like the way that the world is working right now, is that better. The majority, yep, the majority of companies, businesses, industries, every single one is automating and streamlining and making things as efficient as much as possible and embracing technology. The pandemic, they say, fast forwarded everything, like with business and the way that people move and the way that CEOs prioritize things. It moves things by 10 years ahead. Like it fast forwarded us really quickly. And that's not going to stop because we live in a capitalism society, and it's all about how much can we profit and churn and how can we make sure that we are using our time as efficiently as possible. And so it's not, so if you aren't hopping on board and utilizing these tools to the best of your ability, you are really missing out. And you're also falling behind the competition who now has the extra time and space to offer more to the clients and to take care of them better. So another automation, for example, that I really love to bring up, because it's not just about making your life easier and setting the boundary, which is so important and first and foremost why you're doing it, but it also really elevates the client experience, is like a post-visit email automation. Now, this is something where people are really used to like bland, like generic system sent like automated emails and stuff like that, or texts, and people never really read them anymore. We're all like kind of desensitized to that. So what I really like to focus on is how can we automate this process, but make it more personalized? So how can we do more, but not be spending all of our time freaking doing it? So if I wanted to send a post-visit email that included what they need to book with me next time, where my online booking is and where they can find that, what my retail recommendations are, my retail affiliate link, leave me a Google My Business review, let me know if you have any feedback for me, a personal note such as, Susie, I hope that you have so much fun on your cruise. I cannot wait to see pictures of you and your husband when you come back. Like, have a blast. Like, imagine the amount of time that would take you. Yes, imagine around the time that would take you to manually write every single time, right? What I've been able to figure out is how can you fill out a form that'll take you 1 minute and just fill in those fields, and then you press submit, and then it automatically fills in all of that. And it's a personalized email that was almost hands off. It took you 1 minute to be able to increase your retention, increase your retail, increase your client satisfaction. So when I talk about automation, I'm not just talking about the things that remove you completely and make your life easier. I'm also talking about how can we use these systems and tools to make more of that connection with your client without you having to do a shit ton of work and spend a bunch of time doing it.
That's amazing. Oh my gosh. You guys, if you are driving or if you're in the middle of doing something, please make sure that you go back and write that stuff down and take note of it, because that was so smart. Don't just send a regular old boring email that's like, hey, so great to see you. Thanks for visiting. It's make it more personalized. So that way you actually have a direction that you can take them to. You're doing a final recap. You're making it something that is specifically for them. And then you're also giving them places where they can praise you if they really had an amazing experience without really asking them. You're just giving them all the resources in one place. I just want to nerd out on all this stuff with you. I mean, I see that you're getting into AI, and that's something that we're also doing. And, just like trying to maneuver some of that, but just trying to bring everyone else on board in a way that doesn't feel so overwhelming. And once you actually figure out how to do it, which actually doesn't really take that long in the grand scheme of things, it makes your life, your job easier. I literally was sitting down with one of my girlfriends yesterday, and we were FaceTiming one another. And she's kind of in the same boat as me. She's a little bit of a veteran. She's been behind the chair for a long time. And I was like, okay, so have you tried out ChatGPT yet? And she's like, no. And I was like, just, okay, do it right now. And she's like, okay. And I was like, type any question. She's like, well, like what? And I was like, anything at all. And she just goes, oh my gosh. That's so blown. I wish I could just actually see what everyone's face looks like the very
when
first
they
time
first
they
did it.
like just getting all reactions, because it's so exciting that, I mean, yeah, that's a tool that you can use, but there's so many tools that are like that.
Totally.
Now, like this needs to be the way of life. And I feel like one last thing, Hunter, you spoke to this. For those of you guys who are listening that are uncomfortable with getting on board with this, just understand that clients are evolving and they are looking for these kinds of things. If you're not offering it, it's not that you're just leaving things on the table, but your actual clients are going to be pulled in so many other directions. Unbeknownst to you, it's not your fault. But what is your fault is if you're not taking that part of your business into your own hands. So you need to be taking care of your clients. This is something that's for your clients. This is their right. They need to have these options. So thank you so much, Hunter. I definitely am going to drop your information in the show notes. I'm also going to link your podcast down there as well.
Thank you.
Is there any final thought you want to give everyone before we shut it down?
No, I just want to say thank you so much. And to anybody who's listening to this, like, good for you for even giving a shit about your business at all. Seriously. Yes. And, I know that nobody said that being a CEO would be easy. And whether you are a commissioned stylist, whether you're a booth renter, whether you're a suite owner, a salon owner, whatever you are listening to this, I know that nobody said, like I said, nobody said being a CEO would be easy. And you got into this like wanting to be creative and live out your dream of making an impact in other people's lives and make a living doing something that you love. The hard news is all of that stuff goes away and doesn't matter if you don't focus on the business side of things. And I know that the world changes really fast and the standards feel like they're always raising. But lean into people like Ambrosia, lean into me, lean into other amazing educators out there and resources that are available to you. We are in we have such a privilege of living in an era where there are so many resources to support you through this journey. And I promise you, if you're feeling burnt out right now, if you're just like over focusing on the business type of things, then I promise you there is a world where you can have the best of both worlds. You can have a business that thrives and that you absolutely love, and you can be the artist again. And also a personal life that you feel good about and that you have wealth in and that you are fulfilled in. So
damn true. Thank you so much, Hunter. You guys, don't forget to dream big, set goals, take action. Let's do this. Take charge of your business and make all of your dreams come true. This is the best time in the world to be a creative. It's the best time in the world to be an artist. Like, we have so many options and opportunities. And Hunter, we can't wait to have you back. So thanks once again.
I can't wait to be back. Thank you so much.